Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, everyone, to the live stream on this fantastic, although not so fantastic, Monday morning. Guys, listen, dark days are coming to the United Kingdom at the moment. It is absolutely bonkers. We have got the full march forwards into totalitarianism with this new police, the new police chief wanting to have mega police forces in the United Kingdom. One of the things, just before I get onto this, guys, one of the things that they're claiming why they need a mega police force in the United Kingdom is so they can share intelligence and share resources. And I'm thinking, is that not happening already? Are we really saying that, I don't know, Newcastle Police and Northumberland Police, they don't share information? Are we really saying that that's the case? I mean, honestly, when I read more into this article, I did think these people were absolutely insane. I do think look, guys, one of the articles I want to talk about today, I need to be very careful about this because the article itself is about, we're talking about Syria now. So you know how, so basically, this is an article from the 6th of July, so yesterday. The United Kingdom restores diplomatic ties with Syria. Now, I have to be very careful about what I say on this, guys, all right? And I will talk more on this when I go over to YouTube. But the UK has already lifted a number of sanctions against Syria since the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime and suggested the rebel group HTS. Now, guys, look. That group, HTS, they're bad people. You know, like a couple of years ago, that group, HTS, they were bad people and they were on all the watch lists and, we don't do deals with these guys. Now, literally, there's a picture of David Lammy shaking the leader's hand. So, where are we going with this, guys? Are we saying that, the word that begins with T and ends in ist? What does that actually mean anymore, guys? Does it just mean we can put them on this watch list? Yeah, what about those guys over there? They're doing really bad stuff, like stuff I can't talk about on TikTok, where a lot of people are transcending to beams of light. Yeah, they're doing that. Yeah, but they're not on that T's watch list. Why are they not on it? Oh, I took them off it. And this comes, guys, quite distastefully on the 20th anniversary of the 7/7 attacks, which we will be. I think we're going to touch on that again today, guys. Now, listen, guys, the darker days, all right. It does seem to me like we are moving into totalitarianism in the United Kingdom. We've got more attacks in the Middle East. We've got Donald Trump calling for a ceasefire and release of hostages, and all this is happening while people are just struggling to pay their day-to-day bills, and where are we going for? We are going to be talking about conscription as well today, guys, because that's raised its ugly head. And then there was an article out yesterday talking about the full scale of Iran threat to the United Kingdom in a new report. The report's not been published yet. I'm hoping it's going to get released today. But anyway, guys, let's just get into it. I'll jump up and get your questions, guys. Actually, let me jump up and get some comments. Good morning, Googly. Good morning, everybody that's joined. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, I guess we are on. We are double streaming, as always. Whatever platform you're watching on, guys, can you like, comment, subscribe, share? Whether it's down below if you're watching on YouTube or whether it's up here on TikTok, can you do those buttons, guys? Like, comment, subscribe, share, all those buttons that help this channel grow, because ultimately it's only your fine fingers that make this channel grow. Right, let me jump down. Google is saying hello. Sean, Luke Hurd is here. Cheryl, Tardy's joined. Four Pausers saying morning, everyone. I am on a little bit early this morning, guys, because I think there's going to be quite a lot to get through. Lisu is saying good morning. Debbie Doobs is saying good morning. Maxine Cooper sharing the live. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing the live, guys. Google it is saying Trump to meet Netanyahu to discuss a permanent deal with Iran. Let me just pin that. I think I actually had that as one of my I think I actually had that as one of my articles. Yeah. So Trump calls for Gaza hostage release ahead of Netanyahu meeting at the White House. Middle East Crisis Live. So as I understand, this is the first time they've had face-to-face meetings since, you know, Donald Trump. Well, it wasn't Donald Trump. Since the U.S. Air Force dropped the big kaboomers on. Hang on, let me close this. Drop the big kaboomers on Iran. Now, look, what I've noticed doing this channel, guys, what I've noticed, and I've kept this together, what I've noticed is when two world leaders meet, normally a week or the next applicable Friday after that, there's not, you know, something happens. Now, it's not always, and it's not like it's not a litmus test, but normally, so for example, say that, I don't know, say that Zelensky comes and meets Keir Starmer. The next, when he gets back to Ukraine, the next Friday after that, there'll be a big thing. Now, again, this ties into what I always say about why things happen on a Friday. But what we can see here, guys, is, you know, the Benjamin Netanyahu coming over to meet Donald Trump. Now, depending on when he gets back to Israel, because remember, things are said behind closed doors. There's word of mouth agreements, and those word of mouth agreements, they can't be quantified. You guys have heard, you guys have heard the you know the phrase, the corridors of power. For me, it doesn't mean anything about like there are corridors of power because people walk down them and go into briefing rooms. The corridors of power, when I hear the phrase corridors of power, that's because the real stuff happens in the corridors. When you go into these meetings, people have to take minutes. People have to, you know, jot things down. There's press, there's cameras. It's a very official thing. Behind those meeting rooms, so like the next time you guys see a meeting room, when you'll see a door, probably just behind that door, there'll be all the consultants, all the advisors, and they'll be coming up with the deals behind the doors, you know, in those corridors. They'll literally be stood there with the clipboard. I'd be talking to someone else and we're saying, right, what do you need and when can we do it? And we come to these things, and then when the leader comes out, we say, yeah, this is happening. So, you know, we talk about the corridors of power, and I'm just thinking, you know, what's happening in those corridors of power right now. But, sorry, let me go back. So depending on when Netanyahu gets back to Israel, I would suspect, and look, guys, this is by no means is this like a 100% chart, but by no means is it 100%. But I would expect the next time Netanyahu gets back to Israel, probably the Friday after that, you could expect something happening or a big development happening or something in the Middle East. But listen, things are still happening in the Middle East, guys. You know, we've got the Israelis striking targets in Yemen, non-confirmed reports of things going kaboom in Iran. Obviously, we can't confirm them, so it's just hearsay and chatter at the moment on social media. But look, with these hostages, one of the things I've always said, guys, about these hostages, you know, Hamas or the Palestinians, they can't release those hostages because I don't think they still have those hostages. I would speculate that these hostages have been transcended to beams of light long ago, and all this flim-flammer talking about release of any hostages is just that, guys. It's just flim-flammer. It's just people trying to kick the can down the road. Teenage woman R-word in public toilet on popular UK beach as man 31 is arrested. I don't know what that means, Google it. Google it, I don't know what that means. Teenage woman, Google is saying teenage woman R-word in public toilet on popular UK beach as man 31 is arrested. I don't know what that means. Don't let your kids... Right, do you know what Google just said? Let me just pin this first. So Google is saying things here. Don't let your kids go to the... Oh, right, okay, Google it. Sorry, I totally understand what you mean now. Yeah. Teenage woman... Right, okay, I've got it. Yeah. Look, Listen, guys, Google is if you're on TikTok watching later, Google is saying don't let your kids go to the toilet on their own now. I would say especially young girls, and you are 100% right, Google it. We've got two young girls, and we were talking to Sarah, like when they go to, when you're out and like you're having a dinner or something, and they're like, Daddy, can we go to the toilet? And they're like, yeah, go to the toilet. You're watching that toilet now like a hawk, aren't you? Because you don't know who. You don't know who is going to be going in that toilet and who they identify as. Google is saying something very bad has happened in a public toilet on a popular UK beach as a man 31 is arrested. Obviously, Google, there are words in that I can't repeat on this platform, but I will talk about that more when we switch over to YouTube. It is really good, guys. Listen, it is really good that we're doing this on two platforms now, because we can have these conversations, we can get out and reach a wide range of people, a wide range of topics. And then when we boil that down to the to things that would get the live ban, we can just turn the TikTok off and we can go over to YouTube. We can have a more adult conversation there, guys, okay? Last night we were talking about what kind of weapons were legal in the United Kingdom for self-defense, and that would obviously get the live stream ban. But look, I'm just going to keep repeating that. I'm going to repeat that again, guys, okay? Google's advice, which I agree with, do not let your kids, especially girls, go to the toilet on their own now. No, because anyone now, guys, anyone in the United Kingdom can identify as anyone. So if I want to identify as Sheila, 18, and I'm a Bosnian refugee, and I've been in the United Kingdom now 12 years after fleeing persecution, I can identify as Sheila. And nobody can tell me now, guys. Again, tell me if I'm wrong. Nobody can tell me I'm not Sheila. It'd be fascinating, wouldn't it, if how the police would deal that. If I just, without a wig, if I just walked up to the police and went into the women's toilets and said, no, I identify as a woman now. I'm a woman. It's insane, guys. It's not, and I'm not taking anything away from people who are genuinely, like most things, guys, these rules and these laws and this legislation, it has been hijacked by people who are bad, basically. There's no other way I think we can, no other way we can talk about it. Ministers won't rule out support cuts for children. Yeah, look, guys, we know this is coming. Remember we spoke yesterday. I played you guys a little video of Keir Starmer, and he was saying, wasn't just Keir Starmer, it was the whole Labour front bench, and they were all talking about how there's going to be no tax raises and no tax rises, and literally the video goes on for, I think it's like 2 minutes of different Labour MPs saying there's going to be no tax raises, and then literally every time the government have had the chance, they have raised taxes, guys. It's beyond belief. It really is beyond belief. Right, let me jump up. There's quite a few comments. Yeah, we've done that one. Debbie 1973 is saying good morning to everyone, and good morning to you, Debbie. I hope everybody's well. Listen, the British summertime has hit back today, hasn't it? We've had the first bit of rain, I think, for like I'm quite confident now, guys, in saying 4 months. I think it's 4 months since we've had some rain. It was the first time we had like a good downpour last night. We have had a good downpour of that rain. So I think we're going to get a little bit of grass growing, but I don't think it's anywhere near enough what we need to refill our reservoirs. Ukraine says 4 beamed. Yeah, so look, guys, the situation in Ukraine, as soon as, oh, hang on. This may be the group chat. Sorry, we were just talking about drinking certain things, and he said, "Yeah, I can't repeat what he said, but I need to come out of that group chat, otherwise they may make me do work." Hang on, guys, give me a second. Let me come out of that group chat because I'm still logged into it. Right, where was we? Yeah, the situation in Ukraine, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as Donald Trump said that there were going to be no more Patriot missiles, it does, well, do you know what? It doesn't seem to me. There was certainly an uptick in air assaults into Ukraine. the production facilities. I mean, guys, look, the production facilities now in Russia, it's their military industrial complex is fantastic. You know, they've increased production on relevant systems. Now, here in the United Kingdom, guys, we are. I mean, we don't even listen. I know I'm switching fire a little bit, but I did a video earlier, and York Council. I know I'm switching around a little bit, guys. York Council have banned the military from Armed Forces Day. You heard me right, guys. York Council have banned the military from Armed Forces Day. I don't even know if we're a serious country anymore, guys. I genuinely don't know if we're a serious country. Can you imagine anywhere else in the world, somebody saying, it's Armed Forces Day tomorrow. Yeah, well, we can't have any military turning up. Why? Well, it's Armed Forces Day. Well, surely the military should turn up. No, we don't support the military. Well, why don't we just ban Armed Forces Day? Well, we're going to ban. You see where we're going with this, guys? It's absolutely insane. Now, to be fair, well, not to be fair, they didn't ban all military. They just banned military hardware. But, you know, it's absolutely bonkers. It's the biggest bonkers I've ever heard of, you know. In the United Kingdom, armed forces are banned from military parades. But anyway, sorry, guys, going back to Ukraine. These Shahed drones, there really has been an uptick of them, guys. Well, I think over the last maybe 2 weeks, certainly a month, you have seen the biggest air attack, then the next biggest air attack a couple of days later, then the next biggest air attack a couple of days later. And it does, to me, seems like these there isn't an answer to these Shahed drones. I know that the British military are investing heavily in counter-drone equipment, but the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, by the time these things are paid for and developed, the technology is already obsolete. Debbie Doobs is saying, I agree on the remaining hostages. So she's talking there about the hostage release. Oh, hang on, there's been an update. Hang on. A French man has been missing in Iran since mid-June. French's minister responsible for the country's residents abroad on Monday said that Paris had no details on what happened to the man. Right, okay. It's worrying because Iran has a deliberate policy. Okay, right. Okay, we'll not. Right. Okay, right. We'll not worry about that. Let me jump up. But yeah, as Debbie Doobs is saying, so one of the main reasons that there hasn't been a ceasefire in between Israel and Gaza or Hamas, and again, look, I totally take everybody's criticism of what's happening in the Middle East. It's absolutely bonkers. The conflict between Israel and Gaza, it's very one-sided, guys. There's some horrific scenes coming from that region. Now, what I will say is, you can't declare a war on somebody, then complain when they war you. You know, and as distressing as those scenes are, you can't start all these people in Iran burning the US flags, shouting death to America. Like, what do they think is going to happen to them ultimately when they're burning them US flags and stamping on them and saying death, bad things to America? Like, ultimately, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think when the Americans come over, they're going to be lenient? You know, all wars are pointless, guys, all right? The wars shouldn't happen. 10 years after those wars are over, they're going to be back to normal anyway, and people are going to think, what was the point in that? Well, I don't know. It was just wild. I think we should be spending, as humanity, I think we should be spending money on space exploration. Unfortunately, we're in the situation we're in. Anyway, Debbie Doobs is saying, I agree on the Romanian hostages. So one of the reasons why there's not been a perceived ceasefire in the Gaza, between Hamas and Israel is Hamas have not released the hostages. Now, I don't think they can release the hostages because I don't think they have them. And in that context, they can't say. So in these hostage negotiations, guys, right? If you come to this hostage negotiation, you say, right, have you got these hostages? Yep, I've got them. Are they safe and well? Yes. Are you going to protect them? Yes. Right, okay, well, we'll protect your hostages and then we'll negotiate for them. Right, good. If those hostages are then, for whatever reason, transcended into a beam of light, then that opens up that takes the can out of that lets the cat out of the bag, because then it's like, right, you're not sticking to your word, you're transcending our hostages to a beam of light. So there's no circumstance, I don't believe, where Hamas can say, yeah, sorry, my bad, it went wrong. And that's why I don't think those hostages will ever be released. Trump threatens an extra 10% tariff on anti-American BRICS policies. Jody Lee is saying morning, and good morning to you, Jody Lee. Debbie Doobs is saying keep tapping the screen, guys. And if you're watching on YouTube and you've no idea what that means, just touch your nose. Right, I will jump over to comments on YouTube in a second, guys. I've just got a couple more. Linda Lewis saying morning. Debbie Doobs is saying usually there's usually a disabled toilet in public areas where they don't have to make use of those. I think we're talking about that, letting people use, letting your girls go to the toilet on their own, guys. It's a brave new world we are in, guys. It's a brave new world we're in when our children are not safe to go to the toilet on their own. Good morning, Sharon Owen. Debbie Doobs is saying, are Shaheed drones from Iran? Yes, they are from Iran initially, but I think I know there's production facilities in Russia that can produce them as well. So they were developed in Iran. So the plugs, the molds, the engines, the payload, all that stuff will have been initially developed in Iran. But now, as I understand, the Russians can produce them in Russia themselves. Now, I don't know if they've got Iranian technicians or fabricators there. I don't know, but I know that they are being built in Russia as well. Google is saying Trump calls Elon Musk's new political party ridiculous and says Tesla owner is off the rails. Look, I've said for quite a while, and I called Elon Musk, I've been quite critical of Elon Musk, but I have said I think he's a good guy. He knows what he's up against. And what I think he's thinking is, I'm in the lion's den, but I can do net good if I'm in the lion's den. If I'm not in the lion's den, I won't have any influence, any say, or any direction. So I do think Elon Musk as a person is a good guy. Right, I'm going to jump over to the YouTube comments, guys. A couple of comments have jumped up on YouTube. Creepy Queen is saying, morning. Monocrop is saying, looks like your predictions nearly come true, sadly. Apparently, a teenager got arrested attempting to commit a South Pole-style attack on the Oasis concert. Right, let me Google this, because I need to be careful about what I say. I didn't realize that, Monocrop. But look, guys, it's going to happen at some point in those. Hang on. Right, I can't find anything. So Monocrop here on YouTube is saying, looks like your predictions nearly came true, sadly. Apparently a teenager got arrested for attempting to commit a South Pole style attack and targeting the Oasis concert in Cardiff. So let me just try and see if I can find anything on the mainstream about this, guys. I can't find anything on the mainstream about that. If you could tell me where you're getting that from, I'll get it up and give it a share. Matt is saying, morning Raven, I see you've sorted. Morning Raven, I see you've sorted. You didn't say morning Raven. Oh, you just said morning. I see you've sorted your water out. Yeah, I had some water behind there, like in 15-litre containers. I put that out of the way now. Matt is saying there'll be a lot said off the record behind closed doors. Yeah, obviously, when world leaders meet, guys, okay, when they're in that office and they're meeting, that's not the meeting. The real meeting will be happening while they're talking. The real meeting will be behind closed doors, where the consultants and the advisors and the analysts, they'll all be meeting. They'll be sat together. They'll probably be having some sandwiches or maybe a bag of crisps and some I don't know. What do you usually get? the best spread I've ever had, guys, the best spread I've ever had at one of those meetings, hands down, was at the French embassy in the French embassy in Baghdad. Fantastic little spread they had for everyone, guys. You know, lots of these little mini kebabs and these little cakes. It was fantastic. So, you know, they do get a good little spread behind those closed doors. Right. V is saying, just woke up, hope I'm not too late. No, V, you are not too late. And you know what? The good thing about this now, guys, we are double streaming. We can put all these live streams, they all go onto YouTube. So you can jump back and miss it. You can jump back and see what you've missed. Enslaved 86 is saying, hey, Raven, what have I missed? Listen, guys, there is a full-scale threat analysis going to be released at some point. I'm hoping it's going to be released today. But the full threat analysis of Iran is going to be released today, guys, okay? It does look like we are moving into a police state to the United Kingdom, whereby we have private security doing a lot of our outsourcing a lot of our security. And also the ugly head of conscription is coming. There's a lot of people talking about conscription again. A lot of people saying we just don't have the numbers in the British military, which is true. But can you see the insanity here, guys? We have got the military being ostracized in the United Kingdom by not being allowed to. I can't even say it with a straight face. The military have been banned. Armed forces have been banned from Armed Forces Day parades in the United Kingdom. No, I didn't say that wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I said that right. The armed forces have been banned from Armed Forces Day in the United Kingdom. So we have got, I mean, just say that to yourself, guys, and try and make it make sense. So we've got, on one hand, like I just said, armed forces, you know, armed forces being banned from Armed Forces Day, and also a massive problem in recruitment in the military. I genuinely see, not conscription, I don't think they will ever call it conscription, but I do see a path towards forcibly making people join the military. And, you know, we know that this is a thing that people are talking about, because Rishi Sunak, when he was Rishi Sunak, when he was in power, he was talking about this, and he was talking about saying, we can stop people's access to finance. We can stop people's driving licenses. And you know what? With digitalization, with digital ID, it's very easy to do that. You just press a button and, you know, I don't know, let's see, like, I don't know, so Raven, yeah, we've got all your details here on your app. Go and report to the nearest military recruitment office within 24 hours. If you don't do that, guess what? We're just going to turn all your stuff off. So you'll get your app, you know, your app that's payment app, and you can't pay for anything, you can't drive. You go, oh, it's finished. Reminds me of that movie, I think it's Minority Report. Where you like scan your eyes on everything. Right, guys, let me try and find this article. Oh, yeah. Right, no wonder. Yeah, right, okay. Right, ladies and gentlemen, you know when look, thank you for putting me onto that monochrome. This thing has been absolutely buried. This thing's been buried, guys, okay? This thing has been buried under, like, this should be out there. Boy 17 planned, listen, guys, I'm reading this from the Mail Online, okay, guys? I'm reading this from the Mail Online, all right? So the Mail Online, Boy 17 planned Southport-style attack at dance school after praising Axel Rudakabana and suggested targeting Oasis comeback concert. A teenager has appeared in court after police were alerted that he was planning a Southport-style attack on a dance school near his home. The 17-year-old who cannot be named. I mean, well, I mean, if he was, he's probably Joshua. He's probably Joshua Taylor or something like that. The 17-year-old who cannot be named because of his age had talks of emulating the attack. I'm not even going to repeat this, guys. It's just sick. It's just absolutely sick. Police found a note on his phone from April the 28th headed "Places to Attack." It included image. Wow. Wow. I'm reading this, guys. I'm having to stop some of the words. I will read this article in full when we switch over to YouTube. Police found a note on his phone on April the 28th headed "Places to Attack." It included images of dance schools near his home, along with directions on how to walk there. So this guy, this 17-year-old person, a man, we're just going to call him a man, you know, I'm assuming he's probably like, I don't know. I'm assuming with him just saying a man, I'm assuming he's like, you know, I'm not even going to say that, guys. I'm not even going to be pedantic. But what we get there is, from this article, it looks like he's been to these places and he's been taking pictures. You know, he's been taking pictures of like dance places. Guys, my TikTok has just swizzled me. Guys, am I still streaming? Am I still streaming on TikTok? Okay. Right, listen, guys, every time I talk about things, it starts to, look, guys, I'm putting these things together in real time. Right? Right, I'm not meaning to scare anyone now, guys. I'm putting this together in real time, all right? And I don't think it'd be unfair if I didn't say this. You know how, I don't even want to say this, guys. The hairs on my hands I've gone absolutely cold. I have gone absolutely cold, right? Let me just read that again, right? Police found a note on his phone headed "Places to Attack." It include images of dance schools near his home, along with directions on how to walk there. So that to me says that this guy's been taking pictures, you know, at schools or dance schools. How many videos have we seen, guys? How many videos have we seen of, I'm just going to say it, how many videos have we seen of migrants taking pictures of people in parks? Like, how many videos have we seen, guys? Like, how many videos have we seen of migrants in parks taking pictures of kids? Now, I'm not putting these two things together. I'm just saying that there's a lot of those things happening. And this guy here, like, he had that file on his phone saying places. It's unbelievable. Guys, look, I am going to come back. I am going to talk about that. When we switch over to YouTube, because there's a lot of things said in that article that are just absolutely insane. Anyway. V is saying, wait, V over on YouTube is saying, what's happening in Ukraine? So the situation in Ukraine, guys, and this is what I'm getting from my sources on the ground. There's no answer right now to the Ukrainians don't have any way to answer the air assaults that the Russians are doing. This is partly because the United States have stopped sending them air defenses by Patriot missiles. So it does look like this air assault is going to be more and more. It's going to take more and more of the limelight. What we know from open source media is that I think there's like 25 or certainly no more than 30. And even if there was 50, it wouldn't matter. But let's just say there's 35. Sorry, I think there's between 25. Let's say there's 25 and 30. Let's go with a high end estimate. So let's just say that there are 30 gas pumping stations in Kiev, and I think there's less. But these gas pumping stations they're heavily susceptible, guys, and they're heavily vulnerable to air attacks. So if we understand that the Russians are now starting to send waves of these drone attacks, up to like 500 in a wave of attacks, then you can see that there's no chance for these gas pumping stations. Now, if day one they do one gas station, day two they do another gas station, in a month they have, they would have totally decimated the Ukrainians' energy grid, giving them absolutely zero way to heat their houses. And I would say this is coming when the weather starts to cool down. Watcher Harrison is saying, as always, still watching the #1 UK news channel I watch every morning. Oh, thank you, Watcher Harrison. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Watcher Harrison. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go on to something. Now we've seen all this stuff, guys, all right? We are seeing this uptick. Guys, I'm going to ask you guys a question, right? I'm going to ask you guys a question. Have you all noticed there's a certain uptick in security guards in the United Kingdom who don't speak English as their first language? And if you're not from the United Kingdom, I've certainly noticed that, guys. Can you put it in the chat if you've noticed that? An uptick of security guards who don't speak English as their first language. And it's quite ironic as well. For those of you guys who are watching this channel, I talk about, I sometimes talk about an acquaintance who used to call me Gammon. He used to call me Gammon and Brexit boy. And, he used to say to me, oh, Sean, are you worried about these doctors taking your jobs? And he was laughing and scoffing at me. This was like a couple of years ago when I was worried and I was talking about these things. He was like, oh, this same person. And again, I've said this quite a few times. This same person used to work as a security guard at one of these outlet centres. Now, the place he worked, all the security have been services no longer required. They don't work there anymore. And the people they replace them with, English isn't their first language because I don't know how it works exactly. Put it in the chat if you know more on this, guys, okay? But what they were saying is the company no longer want to employ staff because of, I don't know, maybe taxes or something. So what they're doing is they're outsourcing that to another company and they're employing people as temporary workers. I don't know how it works, guys, with the tax system. But basically, all the permanent staff who work as security, they've been let go, I think, to save money, and they've employed people who English isn't their first language. Now, it's interesting this happened with security. So what I'm saying is now, guys, we've all seen this uptick in security being provided, being outsourced, especially at the hotels, especially at supermarkets, where people don't speak English as their first language. Now, we spoke about this last night. I'm going to cover it again, guys, all right? Met Police boss calls for the creation of mega forces in England. Metropolitan Police boss Mark Rowley has called for the creation of a mega force in England to update a system that's not been fit for purpose for at least 2 decades. What I think will happen here, guys, all right, when they're doing this shake-up, when they're doing this reconfiguration, when they're doing this, this restructuring, what they'll do is they'll say, right, okay, why don't we just start using private security companies? Not for anything that the police would do, but for menial tasks. And this is how it will start, guys, all right? And they'll pass a law letting this happen or whatever, and it will be hailed as a good cost-saving tip. And what they'll say is, right, we're just going to send these people out, we are just going to send these people out to, if there's like a reported burglary, for example, or a fire alarm going off somewhere in an industrial estate, we're just going to send our security, and we know what's going to make up the security, we're just going to send those out for, to the, we're just going to send them out to assess the situation, and if there's an actual crime being committed, they're going to get on the radio, and real police officers are going to go out there. That's how it's going to start, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's going to be applauding it. But do you know what the next thing is going to happen? Do you know what the next thing will be? It'll be, oh, do you know what? We're not going to give them powers of arrest because only the police have powers of arrest, and you've got to be qualified police officer to have the powers of arrest. It's going to be, we're going to give them powers of detention. But you know what? If somebody's coming out there and they're wearing a mask and they've got a hood and they're claiming to be security and they manhandle you and they detain you, like, is that not an arrest by de facto? And look, this is not going to be, they're not going to need to pass any new legislation to this, guys. They're going to have to, nothing new will need to be passed on this because this is all existing. This can all be done with existing law because anyone in the United Kingdom have the right to do a citizen's arrest. So they're just going to build on that. And then at some point, we will have masked security in support of the police cruising around and, enforcing the government's totalitarian regime on us. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know. Right, let me jump up. There's quite a few comments just jumped up. Jody Lee, yeah. Look, Jody Lee, look, guys, I don't want to scare anyone, but Jody Lee, I feel exactly, Jody-L, sorry, I think it's Jody Lee. He's saying, I didn't even sign my son up to any summer schemes this year because I'm too aware of what's going on. That's the thing, guys. Like, that is the thing. How many times have I sat here? And said, right now, I believe in the United Kingdom, there will be people planning things. How many times have I said that? I have to be very careful with my language on TikTok, guys, but when we jump over to YouTube, I will talk a little bit more about this. But what we have literally just seen from the Daily Mail is somebody was planning an attack, and they'd even gone to the lengths of taking pictures of dance schools in their area. Like, how? It's just insane, guys. It's just insane. It's insane. NATO chiefs issue World War III warning over a Russia and China twin attack. Daniel Payne is saying should get a slot on GB News. Yeah, all the hotels. I think we're talking about security there. NATO, right? Google it. Let me try and find this article here. Chilling, 17 hours ago, chilling World War III warning issued. Chilling World War III notice issued by NATO chief. Former Prime Minister of the Netherlands painted a grim picture of escalating global instability. Unless democracies show unity and resolve, they won't. NATO Secretary General has issued a stark warning about the growing threat posed by Russia and China. I'm reading this now, guys, online. I'm reading this. This is not my opinion. This is not my speculation. This is me reading from the Express. Where have I got to? Claiming their deepening partnerships risks dragging the world closer to a third world war. Mark Rutte, who took office in October 24, said the authoritarian alliance between Moscow and Beijing now poses a direct threat to global security, particularly as the two regimes grow bolder in their territorial ambitions. I've got to be clear. If I was like, honestly, guys, I'm not seeing China get involved at the moment, guys. I'm really not. That may change. It may change round about 2027, but I wouldn't get involved if I was China. Like, it makes no sense for me to get involved. I'd step back and I'd say, right, you do what you want. I'll just continue to grow my economy. I'll just continue to build stuff. I'll just continue to build infrastructure. And then when you guys have all decimated yourselves, like, I don't have to do anything. And I think that's what the Americans were trying to do at the end of the Second World War. Not get involved, let Europe destroy itself, and then they would be the de facto ruler of the world. But yeah, yeah. So chilling warning. So chilling warning. World War III warning issued by NATO chief. I'm probably going to do a video about that on its own, guys. I'll probably do a video about that on its own. Right, let me jump over and get some questions. Ladies and gentlemen, I've just noticed something. I've not caffeinated myself yet. So can you guys do me a real big favor while I'm caffeinating myself? Can you guys like, follow, subscribe, bell notifications, the buttons up here, the buttons down below, share my stuff on your socials, guys. You all have, like, all my stuff's, all my stuff is open source. You can share it all. While I jump off screen quickly and caffeinate myself, ladies and gentlemen, because I do need to caffeinate myself. I'm just looking at my coffee and I've only had one little sip. So let me just caffeinate myself, guys. I'll jump off screen and I will come straight back. And don't forget to tap the screen if you're on TikTok, because that helps. That helps the algorithm. And I am back after a little caffeinate. Right, I'm going to jump over to YouTube, guys. I'm going to jump over to YouTube and get some of the comments on YouTube. Luke, hang on. Tracy McKibben is saying, have you seen Charlie Veitch's latest interview? No, I've not, but I want to meet Charlie. Listen, guys, I love Charlie Veitch's content. Listen, looking from the outside on the inwards, like he just walks around Manchester like antagonizing people. I think it's fantastic content, but I do think it's good, a lot of the stuff he's showing, because our towns, our cities, what's become of them? For me, somebody who doesn't, like, on purpose, I don't go. In fact, you know what? I think I might do it. Should I do a walk around in Sheffield, do a live stream walk around of Sheffield? I don't go into big towns and big cities. It's just not, I don't like it. But I do watch his content by Charlie Veitch. So no, I've not seen his latest interview, but I do watch quite a lot of his content, and some of the things that you see in I think is it Manchester Piccadilly Garden or something. It's unbelievable. The chavs with the face masks and the crime and the debauchery. The debauchery. Anyway, let me. Yeah, V is saying he's noticed. Luke Jacobs is saying the government can fund the SIA license as a course. I know a few people who got theirs through Universal Credit. I think we're talking there about potentially, migrants or people who've just come to this country, getting their security SIA license or whatever it is. V is saying loss of emotional humanity these days are staggering. Where is the morals, virtues, and principles? I wish there was more I could do. Michelle Ackers is saying China said it doesn't want Russia to lose the war in Ukraine. Right, we'll come on to that in a little bit, guys. We will jump when we jump over to YouTube. Tanner House is saying they don't care about you, so why care so much about them? I don't know who we're talking about there, guys. I don't know who we're talking about there. Right, let me click that. Oh, hang on. Right, Googly, Googly here is saying there's been, hang on, I'm just going to pin this. So, right, guys, this is non-confirmed, but I've just got a comment on my TikTok saying Russia launches an attack on the small Baltic states of Estonia. So let me see if I can get this on the mainstream, because I don't know if that's true, and without it being on the mainstream, I can't say that it is true. But then again, what do we mean by launching an attack? I can't find anything on the mainstream about that. I can't find anything. Oh, right. Read the comment before. Right. Hang on, guys. Look, right, guys. I just need to read the comments here. I do apologize. Sorry. Right. Let me read the comments here. Right, the mirror. Right, okay, hang on. Let me get this up. Right, so let me get the right. So I'm getting this article up here, guys. Okay. NATO chief issues chilling World War III warning over Russia and China twin attack. NATO boss fears China could attempt to annex the island of Taiwan while Russia launches attack on small Baltic. Right, okay, I've got it. Right, okay. On the small Baltic states of Estonia. Right, sorry guys, I misread the article, the comment. Then I do apologise. NATO boss has issued chilling World War III warning, predicting both Russia and China will launch a twin attack. So I think what the fear here is, first of all, guys, look, NATO is over. It's finished. It's not coming back. It's not worth the paper it's written on. So everybody that's like swizzling around thinking that NATO is going to provide some security to anyone, they're massively they're massively like delusional. What we're seeing now is the United States, and again, we've got this. Excuse me. We've got this, we've got this meeting, like, when is it? Like, is it today? I think it might be today or tomorrow. But there's basically a meeting with Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. So I think what you're going to see happen is more alliances and more, what's the word I'm looking for? More collaboration, I guess, between the United States and Israel. But it doesn't look like the conflict in the Middle East is going anywhere soon. So what you would likely see in the next coming days, weeks, months, and look, guys, it's already happening. It's already happening because the United States are already stopping some military aid to Ukraine. And that will grow, I'd say, that will grow until the United States stop all military aid to Ukraine. Why? Because I would speculate they need to send that elsewhere. And I would speculate they need to send that to the Middle East. Once the United States have left Ukraine totally and said, right, we are leaving Europe because you guys need to put your own big boy, you guys need to put your own big boy European pants on and deal with this. We can't be the Americans, world police forever. And you know what? I would actually agree with that. I don't think the Americans should be the world police. I think we should have strong militaries ourselves, and we should invest in our military, and we should actually, celebrate our military in the United Kingdom, not like in the United Kingdom now, guys, and I've said this before, in the United Kingdom now, we have a situation where the armed forces are not welcome at Armed Forces Day parades. So I don't know, maybe they're just having, I don't know, maybe they've got like pro-Palestine marches or something, or like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, like, if the armed forces are not welcome at Armed Forces Day parades, who? Who are they going to have at these Armed Forces Day parades if the armed forces are not allowed at the, Armed Forces Day parades? It's unbelievable. But anyway, so what you would see is when you get these, when you get the United States pull out of Europe, that's when I think the real danger begins. Now, you can see this, like, and if you think that's not the case, if you guys think that's not the case, let's look at some facts, okay? Let's look at some facts. The United States made an announcement that they were not sending any more air defense to Ukraine. Literally within a couple of days, massive air assaults into Ukraine. I think over the space of 2 weeks, we had consecutively the biggest airstrikes in Ukraine. So I don't know, so on Monday you had the biggest airstrike of the war so far. Then on Wednesday there was one bigger than the last one, and then on like the Friday there was one bigger than that one. So you can see here the direct correlation between military equipment leaving and an increase in hostilities. That's not me speculating, that really happened. Tanner House over on YouTube is saying it's a lie that they are running low on missiles, but also it's not our problem. Tanner House, can I assume that you're in the United States? Tanner House, are you in the United States? I think Tanner House is in the United States. Tanner House on YouTube, can you let me know if you're in the United States or not? I'll respond to that because I do think Tanner House is in the United States. I agree 100%. The problems in Europe are not American problems, and they shouldn't be dealt with by the Americans. I've said this I've said this all the time, guys. All right, I've got a lot of friends who are ex-US military, and I don't want to see US soldiers having to leave their leave their families behind and deal with a mess that was caused by us Europeans. We need to deal this with ourselves, guys. Right, I'm just going to jump up and get the comments on TikTok because I'm quite conscious that quite a few have just jumped down. Is Charlie Vici on TikTok or YouTube? I think he may be on both. I don't know. Yeah, Google, we've done the comments. I had to write in 2 comments here. UK Veterans is smiling. Hello, UK Veterans. Priv Caro is saying, would Trump push NATO to invest more to NATO for him to push inflation or makes us weaker in other ways? I think Donald Trump is pushing NATO to invest more because he knows that the United States are going to leave them high and dry. Kind of like when when you're about to, like, when you want your kids to, I don't know, when you want your kids to do something, you're like, right, you need to make sure you've got this, you need to make sure you've got that, you need to make sure you've got this, and then you say, right, okay, you're on your own now, you've got all the stuff you need, go and be free, my friends, be free, NATO is over. Google is saying Zelensky discussed replacing Ukraine ambassador to the US with Trump. I don't know the relevancy of that. I don't know the relevance of that. I don't know the relevancy of that. And 2 girls found alive after clinging to a 30-foot tree. Yeah, massive floods in Texas, guys. Listen, this is the danger that we run, the risks that we run, the dangers that we run when we're talking about this. Right. Okay. Let me be clear. Global warming is happening, all right? Global warming is happening. The Earth is getting hotter, all right? There's no denying that. Now, I would be of the camp that I would be thinking, I'm not convinced how much how much humans are actually contributing to that. If you look back through history, through fossil records, the Earth was a lot hotter, like hundreds of millions of years ago. So, like, how was it so hot hundreds of millions of years ago? Was it like the CO2 and the like cars and like people like burning stuff, or was it something else? So I'm not convinced personally that humans have that much of an effect to global warming. But then humans will have an effect in global warming in the same context that if there's a hurricane outside and I go outside and I like fart in that hurricane, then I will be contributing to that hurricane. But how much really am I contributing? But anyway, yeah, so as global warming does happen, when the ground dries up, it's unable to absorb water, counterintuitively. So when that ground is weak, when I was in the Middle East, this used to happen quite a lot. You get something called flash flooding. So when you get the rain, then the water runs on the top of the rain because the ground is so hard, it just runs on the top and it doesn't absorb. And that's kind of one of the things that we run the risk of. Priv Caro seems saying, seems like most governments are making us lose all rights and money. Healthcare prioritising what Trump wants, while the US is losing rights. I think the only thing I can say to that is what's happening in the United Kingdom at the moment with the restructuring of the police force. I don't see anything positive coming from that, guys. I don't see anything positive coming from that. Debbie Dukes is saying America will lose its world power status. As long as America has the world's biggest navy, the world's biggest air force, and the world's second biggest air force, with the addition of the biggest military in the world, I don't think it can lose its world power status. If you look at America, nobody for 100 years, nobody's going to attack America, guys. All right, America can do what they want with impunity. They have all the land, they have all the agriculture, they have all the oil, they have all the energy. They have all the people, they have all the technology. And they have all that in a place that is virtually unattackable, guys. You know, it's unattackable. You can't come from the east, you can't come from the west, you can't come from the north, and you can't come from the south. Realistically, like, nobody's going to attack America. UK veterans, yeah. Did you see Starmer signed the UN pact to increase taxes on wealth, fossil fuels, and alcohol? Not alcohol, not beer, please, not beer. Yeah, so I talked about this last night, guys, on the live stream. You know, we said on the live stream last night that we were talking last night on the live stream. Ugh. Right, I'm gonna have to, right, okay, I've just seen some news that Google has put on. So yeah, and it's just made me feel sad. UK veteran is saying, did you see? Yeah, so basically, you know, we've got the Labour government saying they're not going to raise taxes, yet every opportunity raising taxes. It is double speak, guys. It's straight out of George Orwell's 1984. Right, Google, let me jump onto this because I hope, right. Hang on, let me jump onto this. I know I've spelled library wrong. Nine hours ago, guys. So 9 hours ago from the Daily Mail. Yeah, so something's happened to a girl outside a library. A bad thing I mean, what is wrong with people, guys? What is wrong with people? Interesting, they've released the footage of the man. They've released the image of the man, but most of the times they don't release the images of the man. When there's a manhunt on, they just say it's a man, 15-year-old girl. What have we come to in our society, guys, where these things are just happening like more or less every day now? Anyway, right, let me jump up and get the rest of these comments because I'm conscious we're over an hour now and I need to jump over to YouTube. Right, UK veterans is saying maybe it's the dinosaur farts that caused the global warming. Maybe it is, guys, you know, maybe all those dinosaurs jumping. Debbie Doobs is saying it's the SAE with the wildfires. It's the world's natural response to healing. April Right, Linda Lewis saying we need certain amount of CO2 because if it goes below a certain amount, trees and plants can't live. Yeah, so there's literally all the media and everybody and all the politicians, you know, they're talking about CO2. They're talking about like CO2 and how it's bad and we need to bring down CO2. If you have a greenhouse, and I know there's places in like Lincolnshire, there's places in Lincolnshire that like grow flat bedding plants and stuff. Anyway, there's places in Lincolnshire, guys, right? They have these big greenhouses, and if you go to these big greenhouses, they actually pump in CO2 because that CO2 helps plants grow. Now, if we have a war on CO2, guess what's going to happen? Plants are going to stop growing. And remember, it's the plants. So our like plants and trees and grass and flowers, they all breathe in CO2 and they breathe out oxygen that we can breathe. So, you know, the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere, I would say, has a direct proportion on plant life. So, I mean, let me pin this. So when people are saying we need less CO2, another true statement is what they're saying is we need less plants and trees. Now, that to me, those statements are, you know, those statements are both true of those people that are saying that because you can't say one without the other. But yeah, there's an amount, I don't know what it is, but there's an amount of CO2 that we need in the atmosphere, and below that, trees and wildlife and vegetation start to die. Dodds Bra is saying, only just joined. What did I miss? Well, you've missed what we're talking about, guys. Darker days coming to the United Kingdom. I spoke about it yesterday, but I wanted to lead with it again today, guys, okay? So, the Met Police are calling for the creation of mega forces in the United Kingdom. What I think that is going to lead to is private security, people who have just got their SIA license. Maybe they don't speak English too good. Maybe they've come here from another country, but they're going to be providing, I believe, and I would speculate, a lot of our security outsourcing. Also, there's a full-scale threat. And the article's not been released yet, guys. I was hoping it was going to get released today. Full scale of Iran threat to the UK in new report. So there's a new report getting. I thought it was going to get released today, guys, but it's not been released yet. So there is a 100-page report getting released. I think it's today. It may not be today, but that's getting released at some point, and they're going to talk about in that report the full scale of the threat to the United Kingdom that Iran poses. Now, look, guys, we've already seen the amount of people on our streets protesting and all sorts of crazy stuff, waving the crazy flags. It's just a sign of things to come, guys. Okay, it's just a sign of things to come. Oh. Snowdrops is saying, right, so Snowdrops is saying on GB News that it won't work. Yeah, so I've not seen this, guys. I've not seen this, but I'm saying that I'm going to assume that this former police commissioner isn't thinking that we're going to outsource the security. So former police commissioner is saying that this plan to consolidate UK police forces won't work. And that's fine. It won't work the way they're pitching it, but it will work if they pitch it and then have private security to fill those gaps. That's what I think is coming, guys. I really do. I think that's what's coming. And then can you imagine, right? You're out there with your wife and your kids, and the private security come and they just decide to arrest you. And where they're going to take you? Like, who are those people loyal to? Go and look what's happening in South Africa, guys. Go and look at some of the horror stories that are happening on. Go and look at some of the horror stories that are happening from South Africa. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, right, I'm going to close this down now on TikTok. I'm going to jump. I'm going to be over on. I'm going to be over on YouTube for a couple of minutes. We're going to be talking about a few of those things. We're going to be talking about the threat, the plan that was foiled, at Cardiff, at the Cardiff Arena, guys, in Cardiff. We're going to be talking about that. Obviously, over on YouTube, I can open up, I can talk a little bit more, and I can say words that would get this live stream banned. So, guys, listen, I'll be back on later on today at 8. I'm going to jump over to YouTube, and we're going to talk about these attacks that were foiled in Cardiff. And I'll see you guys later. Right, we are off, and we have freedom of speech now on YouTube, guys. We have freedom of speech, and we can talk about whatever we want. Let me just close this down and get that article back up again. In fact, I can put it on here and put it on the share screen, and we'll go through it together. Right, I'm just jumping up. Right, one day ago, here it is, guys, from the Daily Mail. Let me just get this up. Right, we'll go through this together. Share screen. I've not done this for quite a while. How do you share screen? There we go. Right, so share screen. I can't share it. What's going on? There we are. Right, so here we are, guys. This was put on to me by one of you guys. I didn't realize this was. This was actually happening. Sorry about the ads, guys. Oh, right, okay, I'm going to accept. Right, yeah, okay. Right, sorry about the ads. Right, so get off. Right, boy 17 planned Southport-style knife attack at dance school after praising Alex Rudakabana, suggesting targeting Oasis comeback concert. So, like, how many times have I said You know, how many times have I said these things are going to happen, you know, and that these things are being, you know, these things are being planned. I'll just read the article and then we'll come and talk about it afterwards. A teenager has appeared in court after police were alerted that he was planning a Southport-style knife attack on a dance school near his home. Unbelievable. The 17-year-old, who cannot be named because of his age, had talks of emulating Alex. I'm not even going to mention his name. I'm not even going to say that. The boy, who was living with his parents in a village near Quambran in South Wales, researched how to obtain these things in a chat with a friend on April the 19th, sent an image of a large knife for sale online saying, would this work? Police also found a note on his phone, April 28th, headed places to, I'm just going to highlight this, guys. Places to attack. It included images of a dance school near his home, along with directions on how to get there. So images, guys, you know, the images, like the images of his, like images of the dance school. Like, does that mean he's been there and taken pictures? And that brings, let me continue, sorry. Local data suggests he had been close to the school for a few days earlier. Yeah, so data on his phone, the tracking stuff like Google, I don't know, whatever, would suggest he's been in and around that area and he's been looking around to see how he could pull that off. The teenager had also reached other potential, researched other potential targets, including his old school. He told others on Snapchat of his plan to attack the first Oasis reunion concert in Cardiff. I'm just going to leave it there, guys. I'll stop sharing that screen, actually. I'll stop sharing that. So what we can see from that, what we can take from that is, like I said, there are, from the article, there are, and like, guys, do we think he's the only one? Do we think there's the one person and we managed to catch him? That's it now. Everybody's safe. Everybody's safe now, guys. There was one person planning it in the United Kingdom and we managed to catch him. Done, over, he's finished. He's been sentenced and that's it now. Everyone's happy. Everyone's happy. A lot of the ways that they caught this guy, is electronic traces. Hacking people's phones, you know, hacking people's phones. This can be done with algorithms. This can be done with keywords, you know, searching for certain phrases. And this can all be done by computers. Like I've always said, if there's no electronic trace, it's very difficult to track these people. So if, for example, when people are crossing the channel, if somebody says to them, right, mate, when you get over, and I'm going to say something that's like quite benign, well, that's quite non-offensive, right, mate, when you cross the channel on, I don't know, on Wednesday the 28th of July, I don't even know if it is a Wednesday, whatever. On the 28th of July, I want you to go to this water pipe here and smash it up. We know it's an exposed pipe. You're going to be living in that area. I want you to travel on Wednesday, the 28th at 12 o'clock, and that's your mission, to smash that pipe up. Got it. Got it. Absolutely. How do you track that person? How do you trace that person? How can you take that person to court? How can you say you planned on attack? There's no way you can do that. Now, whatever that thing is they've told that person to do, doesn't matter. Whether it's something really bad like we're hearing here, potential attack at a dance school, or whether it's something less catastrophic like an attack on a water pipe. If there's no electronic trace, it's almost impossible to find these people. Guys, listen, it's absolutely insane. You know, and do we really think now, and this is an open question, do we think that there is nobody in the United Kingdom are planning attacks? Do we think that in these houses, in these strange places in the United Kingdom where nobody speaks English and people don't have an affinity with their country and with their local community, do we think people are sat in their bedrooms or in their basements with their mates talking about these things? I would suspect that yes, they are. The article that we've just read there from. I'll put the link down below, guys, if you want to look at it yourselves. The article down below, Boy 17 plans Southport-style attack at dance school after praising, that would say that, yes, there are. Now, look, this is the world we live in now, and the fact that this didn't get, the fact that this didn't get mainstream media coverage, the fact that I didn't know about it, and I do search for these things, the fact that this didn't get... all the media attention, it just shows. In fact, what's on the breaking news? Let me just see what actually comes up if you search breaking news. So you get Keir Starmer and the King marking the 20th anniversary of the 7/7 attacks. You get floods in Texas, Labour poised to scrap support for special needs pupils. Erin Patterson found guilty of mushroom murders, whatever that is. Donald Trump calls Elon a train wreck, and bereavement leave to be extended for 24 weeks. So nothing, absolutely nothing about this. Let me open that up. No, there's nothing about it, and you wouldn't think that these things are happening. So I'm going to speculate with that again, guys. All right. I'm going to speculate with that again. I would say that people all over the United Kingdom are planning these things. We only find out about the ones that either they activate them or they get caught. This guy, 17 years old, he was caught. I would speculate he was caught because he was using his mobile phone, and that would be, triggering keywords, and the security services identified him. If they're not using their phone, if they've already got their mission pre-planned, if it's already, if they're, if they're told their mission when they're in another country, word of mouth, there's no way you can stop that, guys. Absolutely no way you can stop that. Debbie Doobs is saying there are 40,000 people on a watch list. Yeah, 40,000 people on the watch list, guys. So if there's 40,000 people on the watch list, how many people are not on watch lists? And Sharon Owen is saying Ukraine are recruiting women due to a shortage of men for the front line. Kiev Independent. Well, listen. Men and women are equal. I mean, how's that with the equality for you? They've been recruiting women for a long time for the Ukrainian military. Depends on what roles these women are going to be doing. Look, guys, I've spent a lot of time in Ukraine. I know the women in Ukraine will be, the women in Ukraine are quite crackers. They will go out there with like Dragunovs and AK-47s, and I will fight Russia. I will not stop. I do know that there was something called Noche Vidma, which in direct translation would be night witches. So it was literally a bunch of 40 plus women, a big group of 40 plus women. At night time, they'd go onto the roofs in Kiev, and they'd sit there with like medium and heavy machine guns, and they shoot the drones. Let me Google this actually. Night Witches Kiev. The term, yeah. All right, okay. Hang on, let me. Night Witches Kiev air defense. Yeah. By day, they are teachers, accountants, and real estate agents or chefs. By night, they are the witches of Bucha. Sorry, the witches of Bucha. The name they give themselves, the 90% female air defense and civil protection unit that shoots down Russian drones to protect the city of Kiev and its inhabitants. Yeah, sorry, guys. So Vidma Bucha, that's what they will call them. Vidma Bucha in Ukrainian. Yeah, so women recruited to the military in Ukraine. It's been happening for quite a long time. Let me see if I don't know if they're going to be recruiting them for the front line. Facing manpower shortages. So this was from June 26th. Facing manpower shortage, Ukrainian brigade turns to women to first ever female recruitment drive. I'm trying. Oh, right. Okay. So it's National Guard. The short tagline headed Ukraine's first ever military recruiting campaign targeting women, launched by the brigade to attract them to join the roles in the army. Around 70,000 women are serving in Ukraine's nearly million-strong military. All right, okay, yeah. So what they're saying is, since Ukraine doesn't conscript women, they're wanting women to volunteer for the military. I don't think this is going to be for frontline roles, guys. I don't think this is going to be for frontline roles. But the comment here says, and this is true, guys. I will say that, look, guys, I am not for women in the in offensive roles. I'm not. I don't think women should be in offensive roles, guys. I really don't. But this comment here is true. Motivated women are better at any job than unmotivated men. I think that comment is true. I really do think it's true, guys. But if you, yeah, I look, guys, I've been in lots of combat roles. I've been in lots of high intensity jobs. And I just think for certain roles, women are not suited because, yes, I do think men and women are different. I do, guys. I think men and women are different. And I'm somebody who's got, you know, we have two daughters, and I do think men and women are different. And I don't think I'm being controversial in saying that. Anyway, guys, listen, I'm going to go now. I'm going to close this down now. I think the crux of this video is, you know, the full-scale threat that is going to be posed by Iran. I was hoping that report had been, I was hoping that report was going to get released today. It's not being released. I can't find it. But as soon as it gets released, I will be talking about that. This UK police state, if this happens, and I do think it will happen, because remember, when the police officers and the, you know, these like people say things, it's already a done deal, because if they say something and then it doesn't happen, they've got egg on their face. So I do think this restructuring of the police is coming, and I would say this is going to have private security, and those private securities are going to rely heavily on people who don't speak English as their first language, guys, and that should terrify and send chills down everyone's bones. What are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do when a load of people who don't speak English, for whatever reason, a reason that you don't understand, come and arrest you? You're going to resist arrest? Are you going to go with them? Where are they going to take you? How do you know they're actually, you know, legitimate police or security working for the police? How do you know they're not people just wearing uniforms? Guys, this has massive problems around it. Massive problems around it. And then we've got, you know, the talk of conscription has started again. We didn't really cover it in this live stream. I don't think it's ever going to be called conscription, but what we are seeing is the decimation of jobs in the United Kingdom, and now talk about giving people £10,000 to join the military. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. I will be back on, I hope, at 8 o'clock, and you guys are also fantastic.